We got cooked in Japan. Candy coated raindrops. So, what's crack-a-lackin'? Been listening to a little bit of. You guys don't know about that Candy Rain, that 90s soul for real. But yeah, Japan was last night. I definitely didn't stay up. Living in Sydney, I would have had to stay up till 2 a.m. to watch those fights, but I had a client this morning at 5:30 a.m. It is 6:30 a.m. What's crack-a-lackin'? What's crack-a-lackin', motherfuckers? We're gonna do another live today. I'm gonna stay on for about an hour now. I'm gonna be getting into the Gavazi Ben Whittaker fight. We got a lot of fights to talk about. I did a live yesterday. We talked about this past weekend, but just like we always do about this time, we got to look ahead. We won a lot last week, but just like a book, we turn the page forward because this is a channel and a community about talking about fights, right? I was telling one of the guys yesterday, I was like, look, I'm a fan of the sport. I'm not a fan of a fighter. That's the biggest difference with my channel. So if you're new to the game, if you're new to my channel, that's something to think about. But yeah, shout out to Takuma. Takuma Inoue. This is Inoue's brother. He beat Tension last night. I didn't get to watch the fight. I picked Tension. I was watching Tension when he was fighting out of Ryzen, the Japanese cards. He was a world-class kickboxer. Was 53-0 going into this fight. And I guess Inoue handled him pretty well. And I did the old classic Johnny Stofko flip-flop. I did the last second turnaround. I did the last minute, not trusting my intuition. My first parlay, I had Reese Alim on it to win, and I flip-flopped. And sure enough, Reese Alim got the dub. So shout out to Alim. Oh, I forgot Scooter Davis fought. Candy coated raindrops. Let me pull up the odds real quick. Yeah, so Suboy won. He stopped Quadras. My whole Japan was awful for me. So I might have to just start putting Japan on that no bet list, not including Nakatani and not including Neo Inoue. But Japan lately, I mean, a year ago we were doing really well in Japan. And even 6 months ago, we were doing really well in Japan. Up until I think, the Brian Norman card, we did really well in Japan. And the Sugar Nunes card, we did really well in Japan. But that was freaking, what, July? The last few cards in Japan, for me, it's been kind of hit or miss. And also, considering we had such a big fight weekend, I didn't put. I sprinkled like $25 on the Japanese card just to stay just to quote Bud Crawford, just because we like to get active. But I'm gonna pull up the odds real quick. So this is what we got to look forward to, boys, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. D-Generation X proudly presents to you the WWF Tag Team Champion of the World, the Road Dogg Jesse James. Molly McCann is fighting, former UFC fighter, striker, UK girl, Liverpool, Scouser. Scousers, we don't get knocked out. She's a Scouser. So we won money on her last fight, actually. She made her pro debut recently. Right now, Molly McCann, due to her star power with her last name, her following in the UK, people knowing her from the UFC, she's getting matched up pretty favorably. I'd have to watch Ebony Cotton a little bit before I tell you where I'm jumping, but off jump. Dude, Zelfa Barrett, man, people forget. There was a time where Zelfa Barrett was a really, really hot contender, hot prospect, good fighter. He's a bit long in the tooth now. I'm going to do my due diligence and look at Liam Dillon. We're just going over the fights right now. This is us being archaeologists, seeing what we have to look forward to. Aaron Bowen versus Tom Callan. Guys, I already like the odds so far in terms of, I like the fact that Barrett and Dillon's a, not quite a 5-1 dog. I don't know too much on Dillon. I'm going to watch tape. I think we're going to have some dogs this week. Aaron Bowen versus Cowling. We already have a lot of fights on the books. We have fights in the Netherlands this week. We have the Pro Box card this week. We have a couple fights in the UK this week. We got Jamie TKV is fighting. We got on a separate card. We got Ben Whittaker on a separate card. Fran Hennessy's fighting. This is a good, like, look at these odds. Fran Hennessy versus Fabiana Bertke. We got to check those out. Cameron Vong rematch against Gavin Gwynn. So that'll be my first Statstone live video today. So somewhere, stay tuned to the channel. I'll be uploading my breakdown, prediction, and analysis of Cameron Vong and Gavin Gwynn. They already fought once. This is Fraser Clark versus Jamie TKV. Fraser Clark, $120. So there's a lot of fights, guys, already. It's only Tuesday morning here. And even last weekend, with all the fights we had, we didn't have this many fights on our books this early in the week. Ben Whittaker versus Gavazi. The return of the surgeon, Ben Whittaker. We last saw him fight in the rematch against Liam Cameron. He got his get back. He got his comeuppance. It was his first fight with Andy Lee, and he looked better. The fight in itself did have a atypical, quick, early English stoppage. So Ben Whittaker is one of these enigmatic figures, charismatic, talented, that people are either going to love or hate, and he's still young, former Olympian. He's must-see TV, though, however you want to dice it. Justin Paldo, this is going to take us to the Pro Box card. Robert Garcia, matchmaking. You know, Pro Box always has fights. They promote their promotion as 50-50 fights. We hit 100% on those fights last weekend. So it's always good to get a little Pro Box action. This is a fight, dude. Eric Badillo Mares versus Ellen Soto. That's a firefight. This one, $1.47, $2.90. That's a firefight. That's gonna be fun to break down and predict. I'm probably gonna have to lean on my boy Chilltown. He's kind of my go-to when it comes to some of these mid-range contender sort of Pro Box matchups, like this one, Eric Badillo Mares versus Elwin Soto. Look at all the dude. We have this is insane how much action we got. We got Yakubov versus Chacon. Mohamed Yakubov taking on Christian Cruz Chacon. So that's another good fight. The odds are good. Elijah Pierce is fighting Para. And Constantine Ursu. So this excuse me, this Constantine Ursu versus Ryan Amos is its own card. Another one of these global fight cards. So we have, I think, 3 cards in the UK. We got Pro Box. We got the Netherlands card, which I'm not getting odds on it yet. I'll bring it up. You know what? I'm going to show the Discord because we put the fight schedule up in the Discord. I was at the park one day. It's when I saw her face. She looked kinda catty to me. Community picks, bet slips, live events, schedule. Here we go. Okay. Yeah, so the fights start with this card. This is the Pro Box card taking place in Fresno. Paldo versus Theron. But that Eric Badillo Mares fight is one to keep an eye on. Adelaide Ruiz is fighting again. Then the next card, this is the Netherlands card. If you guys haven't watched Greatest Cross is one of these guys who's picking up a little bit of steam on sort of the mainstream UK, Europe boxing scene. You know, he went viral a couple fights ago for being walked out to the ring with his little daughter. I think she might have even sang the national anthem, but he could crack. He got a little bit of class to him. So even if you're like not going to bet on this fight, I saw Bet365 has this fight to bet on. He's a guy to put kind of an asterisk by to pay attention to. He's a little bit of a bigger guy. And, you know, the 2 fights I've watched, Greatest Cross fight, he's entertaining. Very athletic. And then this is the Fraser Clark card. This fight's going down in Derbyshire, United Kingdom, headlined by Fraser Clark and Jamie TKV. Fran Hennessy, she's, you know, a young up-and-comer, has a lot of promotion behind her for various reasons. Jack Massey's fighting on this card. You'll recognize his name. Then we got another card. This is the Ben Whittaker card. So there's a lot of action, guys. I'm going to ask my level 2s. So I need the Johnny Says level 2s to tell me what fights you want me to feature because I'm only one man. I'm obviously going to do the Ben Whittaker, Ben Gavazi fight. I'm going to be uploading Cameron Vong versus Gavin Gwynn today. I mean, even like the Zelfa Barrett, Liam Dillon fight is interesting. Interesting. Zelfa's still ranked 26. Like I said, it wasn't that long ago where Zelfa was, his name was being thrown around with the top guys, the top guys in the world. I like Zelfa Bear, man. When he's cooking, he's fun to watch. And this is that other card, the Constantine Ursu card versus Ryan Amos. Malik Zahad's fighting on this card. So there's a lot of fights, man. So whatever book you're at, and I'm probably missing a card. So whatever books you guys are working with, this is sports bet. I got cooked again using the wrong book. I hit 2 weeks ago. I hit a 15 leg parlay. This last week, and I hit a 15 legger. It would have been 30 for 30, but I used the wrong book, and there was a draw, and I lost the draw. But if you're Americans and you tailed my two 15 leggers, you would have hit on both. So if you hit, let me know, mother. I'll be taking questions. What's up, guys? What's up, players? Ben by decision. Let's talk about it. What's good, Mike Larry in the house? Real guys, when you're tapping in, it took me 10 minutes to get that out of the way. Now we can get into the Wild West fun part of the show. As you're tapping in, say what's up. Hit the thumbs up. Let me know what time it is. Comments. And Vong faded badly in their first fight. What are you seeing in this then, Mike from Melbourne? Let's pull up the odds then. Let's focus on this Vong fight because this one has a lot of the boys talking about it. I've already been messaged twice in an hour about this fight. So Vong faded badly in the first fight, and from a training camp perspective, this is something you could if you're Gavin, this is something you definitely camp for. This becomes part of your tactics. Whenever you see a guy, whenever you're about to fight a guy and you know they have a history of fading, especially when you fought him and you got a dub, you weaponize that cardio. Dwayne Styles, I used to sing in a band. Thank you. Yeah, I used to play music in my early to mid 20s in Long Beach. My boy Jazza, dude, Jazza Dickens, people be sleeping on Jazza. Dude, Jazza going into Turkey as a 5-1 dog and beating Albert Gaziev. That's one of my, from an odds perspective, 5-1 is a big upset, but there's been some of these obscure 10-1, 11, 12-1 fights recently. But in terms of what was at stake, that's my sort of upset of the on a short list of upset of the year was Jazza Dickens going into Turkey. I think Tyson Fury ringside. It wasn't really a highly promoted card in the States area, and Jazza Dickens brought it to Albert Gaziev as a big dog and stopped him. And I love when I see guys with sort of this Indian summer career. DGZ 187 in the motherfucking house. He's a big underdog on the NUA card as well. He got a fight though. Okay, nice. Yeah, dude, I'm a fan. I'm a fan of any guy who is what's Jazz now, 36. Let's see if we're getting odds for that. So, what do you guys make of this? I want to know what you guys make of this with Vong being the favorite, even though he lost the first time. Not a huge favorite, but Gavin at 2-1, that's good money. You would think Vong is the favorite. Otherwise, the team should not be taking it. I think he took that first fight too. Okay. Well, he's the favorite on point. He's a favorite. He's a favorite with the odds makers right now. What movie? What movie's that though from? See, I was quoting a movie Toxic. What's up, guys? Super bad. Fucking McLovin. What's up, players? Vong has changed camps. He and Ben Davison now was with Jamie Moore first fight. All right, so he's made the proper adjustments. Give me one. I want to see we'll stick to the Cameron Vong fight. I'll bring up some footage. We'll see what he looked like in the first fight versus Gwen. I want to see if I got odds though on Jazza real quick. Dude, there's some really good cards coming up. Guys, anybody who's saying boxing's in trouble or boxing's dead, They must not do what we do. We do, but our sport, we don't have a season. We get to have action every week. It's like if you win, don't be too happy with your winnings. But if you lose, keep that fucking head up, turn the page. We got work to do this following week. This is anyway, it's like every week it's like Christmas. Put your work in, do your due diligence, and let's get this. Dude, Alam Hunalay is fighting Lara coming up. Fulton versus Foster. Dude, people are sleeping on the Shabazz Masood versus Peter McGrill card. Jaya Pataya, that's a good card in Australia. Diego Pacheco's fighting Sajo. I'm going to the Tim Tszyu card here in Sydney. Callum Troy Williamson, Taraji Nakatani. Jesus, that's that Samurai card at the end of January. How come I'm not getting it? They must see Sportsbet has this shit under like B fights and C fights. Kona Walker versus Pat McCormick. That's a fucking fun fight. It's part of my French mother. Dude, Cesar Vaca's fighting Popoka. We last saw, I was at the Cesar Vaca Sam Goodman fight. He was better than I thought. Popoka's a real prospect, though. Tito Mercado. Finally, Mercado's fighting again. Vasily versus Howarth. They got their own card. There's a lot of fights, boys. Ramon Cardenas is returning. There we go. Tsutsumi versus Dickens. So it's on that Samurai card. Yo. This is for the G's and this is for the hustlers. This is for the hustlers. Now back to the G's, Eddie. Fun fight, man. This is a fun fight. Tsutsumi a good fighter. But I got to be honest with you guys. After watching the highlights this morning and seeing, Reese Salim cooking, shout out to Reese Salim was out here cooking. I'm gonna start calling him the chef. Reese Salim cooked. What do you guys make of these? These Japanese molded fighters who garner these massive, great records, but they've never really traveled abroad, and then they get found out. Like, just last night, because Reese Salim was a 3-1 dog. We saw it with Sasaki. You see it all the time, actually. The kid who fought Sugar Nunes. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, Hiroka, this fight's going down. I can't wait for this fight. So everybody's talking about. So I was watching Regis today. Regis Prograis was on YSN. He was talking about Devin's performance, and he was talking about things that went wrong, things that went right for Team Norman. He brought up a good point about how Norman, it kind of looked to him that the lights were too bright for him, and it's something that probably has a point. But nobody, and then I was watching, some of the other commentators. Paulie was talking about what's next for Dev, who's the best at 47. Man, if Gary Antoine Russell goes out there and looks how I think he's going to look against Hiroka, I'd love to see GAR versus Devin at 47. Like, I mean, Gary Antoine Russell versus Devin Haney at 147. Let's go for real, for real. How do you think that fight will go down? How do you think that fight goes down? Like, that is the one, mate. That's the one I want. Because what was highly evident with Devin Saturday night is that there is such a skill gap that you cannot make. Like, the skill gap he has from just his boxing acumen, you can't make up that skill gap. Like, if you're Brian Norman, like, the skill gap was just way too wide. I don't care if he changes camps. I don't care. Like, you just see levels. 100. Like, Devin's understanding of range, distance, timing, his understanding of like when to make decisions, of when to smother punches, all of that was on full display. I'm still not 100% happy with like or comfortable with how his legs look. They're like, I mean, he's never going to be like a Arturo Gatti type slugger, but there's just something in his base or his foundation for me that I still have some questions on, which is fine. He fought masterfully. All flowers go to Devin and Bill too. I hope people realize, dude. Bill Haney, dude. His box. I didn't really. He has a high boxing IQ, mate. Like that game. The game plans Bill creates. Like, come on, man. When you think about, you have two fathers, their sons are fighting, for their sons are world champions, you would have to say, well, the father who was a pro boxer would have the higher fight IQ just based off of logic. No, because Team Norman's game plan, the adjustments, and it's not the first time we saw Senior in the corner of Junior giving him sort of like head scratching advice. Now just leave it at that, because I'm not trying to disparage Senior. You know what I mean? It's a blood sport. I'm trying to give props to Bill and his game planning and the advice and just how he operates. And a lot of that might be just the experience Team Haney has at that world level. Like Bill was super comfortable. And my point is, Gary Antoine Russell versus Devin at 147. Like, don't bypass Andy Hiroka. Andy Hiroka is going to be a nice challenge for Gary. But like an Andy Hiroka, I think is more on the lines of what Ryo is. And we saw what Gary looks like against a guy like Ryo. Jesus. Gary struggled a little bit in the second half of the fight with Puello. I thought he was winning that fight, and I thought he let that fight slip. And to me, it looked like he mismanaged his gas tank against Puello. So, but then we saw the adjustments he made after that fight. And Puello it does not fight like Ryo. Puello is a very tricky southpaw, long, uses the entire ring, makes you go get him, but he'll come to you. Like he's an interesting problem to solve, Alberto Puello. I feel if they fought again, Russell would be able to handle him better this time. And this is why boxing's the best sport on earth, guys. Like there's no better sport than boxing, because like everything matters. How many looks you got to see matters in terms of like where your career is. But this matchup, GAR versus Devin, because the thing about Gary Antoine Russell, he has those skills I talked about. He's a very skilled fighter. He's a lifelong fighter. And so there's a lot of these things that would probably, I love like his jab. He's a southpaw. There's a lot of these things that would kind of cancel each other out, which would make this fight, I think, a real close fight. How do you guys see that fight? I'm just sorry, guys. I'm just catching up to all these comments. I'm not trying to just. Gary is taking it. I'm gonna focus on this, then we'll move forward. Gary versus Hiroka is already a fight involving both fathers some way, which makes this crazier. Sent from Pat, dropping the wisdom as always. Johnny, you got Janet. This like conventional wisdom would tell me Elam Hunalay, but I mean, Lara, even at 88 years old, man, he still looks good. This version of Lara is a different version of Lara when he was younger. He's not moving as much, and he's sitting down on his shots. And Janabek is like, people should go to prison for that fight that they made. He fought a kid from Sydney, and the kid from Sydney is like a clubber. I think it was Andre Mihalik. So I don't know. I got to see. I'm gonna watch more and more tape on Alam Hunalay, because off jump, people view Alam Hunalay as they view Murtazaev. They view Alam Hunalay at 60 as they view Murtazaev at 54, and I think the jury still might be out. But Lara, he's not getting any younger, and Janabek's a big boy. So we have that fight. We're covering the fight. I'm leaning towards Alam Hunalay. Dude, and man, I have Reese Salim. I apologize. I had Reese winning. I picked Reese and then flip flopped. I saw Reese box live. I saw him in the Gold Coast. He was on the undercard of a zoo card. I'm salty that I switched that bet. All good. We got to move on. Yeah, it's an interesting fight. It's an interesting fight. Everything Lara's pedigree, his fight IQ, his experience, his resume. There's a lot to like about Lara. This point right here, Mike from Melbourne, when you're able to control range as Devin is able to control range, this is a word we use, neutralize. This is when we start talking about how a fighter neutralizes an offensive minded fighter. This is what we're talking about. You have to have great timing to do this. You have to have great knowledge of your opponent. You have to have great vision. You have to have great, look at it like a quarterback who is expecting his receiver to be in a specific section. So, you throw the ball here and your receiver's here and you expect them to be here. So you have to have great intuition. Devin has all that. Devin has all of that. I got to be honest with you. That first half of that fight, it was a joy to watch. So, yeah, shout out to Devin and Bill, man. That was and I said, dude, and I said this, and obviously I took Norman. I think I was talking to Breaking Bad. I have all these little side quest conversations throughout fight week. If Nick is on this chat, he could verify. Right before the fight, the night before, I was at a dinner party with my girlfriend, and I'm at a dinner party with my girlfriend. I step outside. I don't smoke cigarettes or anything, but I stepped outside to chat with Nick. And I'm in Australia, he's in America, and I'm like, bro, I was like, this fight still is 50-50. I was like, even though I'm leaning on Norman, I was like, I'll be happy if Devin wins. I was like, I'm not gonna be mad if Norman loses. I was like, because what we see in a victory for Devin is a kid who was at the lowest of the lows and had everybody hating on fighter. Boxing gives every fighter an opportunity to redeem. Boxing is a story of redemption, no matter where you are in your career. And it's why we talked about Jazza Dickens against Badr Gaziev. We're talking about Lara versus Elam Hanalei. We're talking about this is why we have the best sport on earth. Without a doubt, boxing is the best sport on earth. I don't care what you say. And this is why I could get past the politics. I could get past the corruption. I could get past the awful decisions. At the end of the day, when you have two fighters making a decision to fight, there's always going to be a storyline. For a hopeless romantic like me, those storylines, Jesus. Lara has been tested and came across all sorts of fighters compared to Janabek, and he's breathing and living the game 100%, man. Bro, Lara is alive. I'm going to pull the odds up after I catch up to the chat. I think Hiroka gets stopped. That layoff is 100%. And Andy's not young, Pat. Sent from Pet. I always thought it said sent from Pat. Andy, what is Hiroka now? 36? I thought he did try to go through the gears a few times after the knockdown, but Norman's reply was enough for him to box conservatively, knowing he had it in the bag. Yeah, and I said this yesterday on my first live stream, and people were getting offended by it. But I said that I feel Devin was holding back. And it's weird how you could take offense to that. Like, that is me 100% complimenting Devin. I was saying I felt like Devin was holding back, that he had more gears to show us. And it's to the point that you're saying. Dude, the internet down in my what did Paul Wall say? I got the internet going nuts. The internet down here is dropping out. It's acting crazy. So when the internet on my second device comes back, I'll pull up those odds again. Lara's 42, so good. He beat Canelo soundly back in the day. Janabek wins though. This is gonna be a good fight, boys. This is gonna be a fight with the insiders, you boys. We got Win Santiago join it. This is my guy. I want to give a shout out to my boy Win, who just joined. A lot of people don't know. So Win just joined. Guys, become a Johnny Says Boxing VIP. Win has access to the Discord now. That link is pinned in the comment section. I've watched Win and I have been going. He has my personal email. So during fight weeks, he'll send me his parlays. And I've watched this dude go from sort of like a hesitant better to like winning week out. Like, my man will now, like, he'll listen, but if he thinks that there's a bet that I have a bad read on, he'll go against me. And that's what we want. We do not want an echo chamber. Like all the boys last week who won on Devin, mate, this is what we want. Hiroka's not 29. Hold on. 29. Why did I thought? Hold on. Why did I think Hiroko was way older than that? Is he really 29? Who am I? Yeah, the internet's out here suspect. So he is only 29. What the hell was I thinking he was okay, he's only 29. So GAR, they're about the same age. My bad on that. Good call, chat. Whittaker knockout. Listen here, Johnny boy. I'm only here to say I'm gonna give the stage to you. It's all good. Say so. You obviously don't watch my channel. I've been gracing Dev with his flowers all week, brother. Fraser Clark, Jamie TKV going over. Okay. New tab. Andy Hiroko. Give me one second. I'm going to pull up these odds for Julius. Julius, Alabama. It's weird how. Have you guys noticed YouTube changed all your names? Yeah, the internet's out here nuts. Shit ain't working. We'll just leave that alone for a while. Guys, we're 30 minutes in. Let me know where you're tapping in from. TKV does hella clinching. Whenever my internet starts working again, I'll bring the odds back up, but I got them up on my screen. He's a big dog here. You're not dog hunting here, are you, Julius? So you're just going with the over? So TKV is horrible to watch. Yeah. People love. Well, he has a little bit of a following, though. So it's going over. I'm hyped for Inoue Picasso. Guys, I think Inoue Picasso is going to look like Bam versus Puma. What do you guys like? Dude, I had Tommy Tommy calls me yesterday. They're in Florida. He's with Malinaji and Algieri, and he asked me. He was like, "Dude, take Joshua 1 through 3." I'm like, Tommy, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know if this is a real fight though. Like, I don't bet on Jake Paul fights. I don't cover Jake Paul fights. The only way I'm gonna ever cover a Jake Paul fight on my channel is if a level two VIP requests it. And even then, I might add an asterisk to the membership offers and say, level 2, you get to request 1 video a month, except if it's a Jake Paul fight. V. Shout out to Johnny in the game. Great week. I made money on Inoue. Good man. I'm glad you went with Inoue and didn't listen and didn't go with Tension. Guys, Tension going into that fight last night was 53-0. I remember watching Tension on these obscure kickboxing cards, Ryzen MMA cards, and hearing about him, really into like the one championship MMA scene and that Japanese MMA scene, and the story of how he even got that exhibition match with Floyd. He wanted to share time in the ring with Floyd, and they paid Floyd an exorbitant amount of money, and that's when Tension made the decision to change sports. But once again, last night, if you were watching Top Rank's Instagram, before Tension fought Inoue, he was warming up and shaking out in the ring, and he was doing like leg kick checks, and he was messing around, just having fun, but doing like kickboxing techniques. And I'm like, my bet is in. I knew it. I was like, my bet's in trouble, dude. The Inoues are freaking assassin killers. I was like, if you're messing around in there doing like different sport techniques to get loose, whenever you're kickboxing or fighting Muay Thai, it's a totally different movement pattern system than boxing is. Everything from where you're punching from, the space, sitting on punches, because in kickboxing and Muay Thai and MMA, you have to check things, so you can never sit on anything. You have to check low kicks, you have to check elbows. And so you're never, in boxing, we don't have to check shit. We're out here sitting on everything, especially in the pocket, especially when you see your guy fading or he doesn't like it. So man, I'm not. I was salty. Good shout out to V007 on that. Why the hell did I think Haroka was freaking 30? See, that bothers me. Damn, this internet views sports bet. Let's see if this works. Still not up. These cats is insane. Oh, this shit ain't gonna work. So you guys are talking about the over. I want to see if we could get the over on. I don't think. What book are you using? Julius, what book are you getting the over on? So you think it's going to go the distance? The distance is 350. This is gonna, dude. Bet at your own risk on this fight. On these fights, like that's another thing about the fights this weekend. We'll see how heavy we go. I'm probably not gonna go heavy. Yoka Valley, yeah, we all do. Mucho gusto, Latina. Mucho gusto. Me llamo Giovanni. Como te llamo? Vaughn reminds me a bit of Whittaker with regards to tendency trying to be flashy and not focus on the. And this is why you see guys like that kind of fade out. Boxing at the highest level, you have to be so efficient with your energy. You can't waste things. Everything from missing on punches to small little wasted movements. When you're in there with a real veteran or a real seasoned assassin, they're going to pick up on that, and they're going to drown you in those blank spots. Those spots where you try to flash on the scorecards or impress the judges, then you try to back up for a reset. A real vet is going to cut the distance and drown you in that space and not let you breathe, and that's weaponizing your cardio. Gwyn already fought him. It's gonna come down to those adjustments Vong makes. TKB got wrong versus Adelaide. The ref got him knocked down. He was winning that fight easy. Kiza, are you sprinkling here? Anybody sprinkling on TKV? That better be the only result. Rounds one, and it should be rounds 1 through 3. If that isn't, look, I guess we're talking about it, and I'm salty that we're talking about it. But if this isn't the result, and you know what I'm even salty about? Because Jake Paul is fighting, quote unquote, fighting AJ, he's categorized now in the A fights because AJ's an A fighter. The only bet on this fight card, on this fight, should be Anthony Joshua to win the fight in rounds 1 to 2. That's really the only bet. And if it's not Anthony Joshua to win the fight in round 1 to 2, then it's not a fight. Sue Boy's really good. Quadras corner through the talent early. Yep, 2 pro fights. Quadras 50 pro fights. I know some of the boys, some of the old heads had Quadras just because of the experience. But having rewatched Quadras as of late, I just thought his lack of speed and the tread was going to be an issue. That's why I went with Sue Boy. UFC 323 card is insane. Marab said if he loses to Peter Yan, he ends it. And I'm not surprised if he's the type to actually do it. I want to see Sarukian and Taporia fight. Suboy versus Bam is a close fight. Nah. You think so? You think this is a close fight? Suboy. I mean, Bam. Hand speed is one thing, but there's a lot. Bam's bag is. I mean, everything from how comfortable Bam is in a firefight. Like, Bam almost looks disinterested in a firefight. He has this sort of cavalier approach to when he's cooking that is anything less than remarkable. To be that calm in there, You don't see that a lot. You don't see it a lot at all. Almost offended that somebody's in there with him. What he did to Puma was, and some of that was him playing with his food. Because you got to think that he could have got Puma out there early. Puma was super tough. All right, Boxing Wiz, my guy. Maybe this is the move. Whittaker, Clark, Vong. So Boxing Wiz, we got. Are you convinced Vong wins the rematch though? Considering he lost to Gwyn. That's what we have to ask ourselves. Does I know Vong changed camps, the adjustments he makes. He's the one who lost. He is the favorite. So as of late, we have seen Ben Whittaker rematching Liam Cameron. He got it done. We've seen a couple rematches as of late. Johnny Fisher versus the big fella. Bilal Fawaz beating Junaid Boston, in which the dogs won, was my point. Because Junaid was the favorite against Bilal. We got Bilal plus 345. Um, was wasn't Fisher the favorite in the rematch versus the big dog? In Ben Whittaker, Liam Cameron. That might have been a 50-50 on paper, if I remember correctly. Von Gwynno. Okay, Julius. Who you leaning on for the stoppage? You just think it goes down this way. Damn, why did I think that bothers me? I thought Hiroko was 36. Who the hell was I thinking of? He's 29, 5'11". That's going to be a fun fight. I want to see the dark horses, Ostley Iglesias, Albert Ramirez, arguably but very inactive, Termona is fighting this soon. He's fought a couple times this year. He fought, they brought him up to the U.S. He was supposed to fight on I think it was the Jai card when Jai fought the Italian kid in the Gold Coast. But then they expedited him and brought him a week early to New York to be on the undercard, I think, of Hitchens Cambosis. And then he was all this. I think this will be. I think he's fought. We'll pull it up. Terramona. Yeah, he's an X factor at heavyweight. 8-0, 8 knockouts. Yeah, we saw him fight 1, 2, 3. This will be his fourth fight this year. And if you include December 24th last year, so he's fighting again December 6th, by the way, Terramona. If you include his fight from December 24th last year, in a calendar year, including the fight coming up in 2 weeks, this will be his fifth fight. So he's been active. They've been trying to get him active. Fong was declared the winner, but he definitely lost. Was he? Why did I think he lost that fight? Damn, my memory. Gwen said he was working 9 to 5 since Raw. He might know. Damn, boxing's a brutal sport. Who's taking Cameron? Is anybody taking? Who's anyone taking Gwen in this fight? Yeah, that's what. Yeah, this dude's a dark horse at heavyweight. I mean, eight wins, 8 fight. He's fighting on that. So yeah, he just hasn't had featured fights. We haven't seen him in like he's young in his pro career, so you don't want to. You kind of don't want to rush him. This is a fun card though coming up in the Goldie. So this is that Jaya Pataya card. Justice Hooney's on this card. You know the fight that I'm really looking forward to on this card is Jake Wiley versus Paul Fleming. This fight right here, Jake Wiley versus Paul Fleming. If they give me and I bet you what I'm predicting is they're going to give us Fleming as the dog. Paul Fleming's only loss was to Charlie Suarez in a fight which he was winning, and he got stopped real late. And we know how good Suarez is. So this card coming up, Ben Mahoney's on this card. There's going to be money to be made on this card. Justice Hooney's on this card. This goes down in 2 weeks. Jaya Pataya, Ben Mahoney, Jake Wiley's fighting Fleming, Justice Hooney, Jason Maloney's on this card. Yeah, the card has some really good matchups. Somebody called Jason Maloney Jason Baloney yesterday. You guys are wild. I agree with this statement. I think he's a dark horse. I mean, right? There's some heavyweights lurking in the shadows. There's other guys other than Moses. I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't hate it. Makhmudov showed me something in his last fight. I didn't think yeah, he showed me something in his last fight. Yeah, I hope he steps up soon, boys. I got Para beating Pierce. Okay. Yeah, this is a card. These fights, Massoud versus McGrill, Elijah Pierce versus Para, are going to be lit. I totally agree. So, Julius, we have these odds right now. You like Elijah to lose that fight? Upcoming, share tab instead. You know, when you're an old head, you got to talk yourself through the process. It's kind of like when you were in your mom or your dad's car. I was always in my dad would make me go with my mom everywhere. And so like I'm like 8 years old, always having to go with my mom everywhere, to the store, to the bank. This is back when you had to go to the drive-through bank and you put the money or the check in that vacuum thing, boy. You young bucks don't even know what I'm talking about. Drive-through, this thing comes out of nowhere. It goes into your car, you put whatever you want in it, and that's how you would do the drive-through banking. But my mom, when we would go up to the drive-through, she would like lower the music and tell me to shut up and talk herself through the process. I find myself doing the same thing. You know, you got to talk yourself through that process, boy. So Cameron is currently $1.43. Fraser's $1.20. Oh, you guys said Elijah. Wow. All right, Julius, sell me on Lorenzo Parra. What do you like about Lorenzo Parra, Julius? Pierce has no defense. All right, Pierce is the way he gets hit a lot. So what's Lorenzo's game? I have to do my film study. Off jump, I don't know. Like what's his game plan? Is he going to be is he a pressure guy? Is he a counter guy? I presume Vaughn will win on points, but will likely stay away from that one. Fraser, Whittaker, Ibrahim Suleiman, and Fran Hennessy. Yeah, see, we got so much action, boys. It's going to come down to not getting greedy. Anybody else siding here with Julius and picking Lorenzo Parra? Didn't we just watch Elijah on was it a Pro Box card get rocked? Did he get rocked and then come back? He does get touched a lot, doesn't he? We just covered his fight. I need to watch Parra, but Pierce is always getting rocked. Yeah, I need to watch Parra too. Parra should have won against Trinidad. Oh, that was who we watched that fight. We got a gift there, didn't we? We did get a gift. He was a big dog, wasn't he? Parra got robbed against Trinidad. Elijah's 21-2, 17 knockouts. Yeah, okay. The Michael Dasmarinas fight. He won. Pierce got dropped in the very first round. Dasmarinas got dropped twice in the ninth. That was a fun fight. Pierce was getting outpointed big in his life. He got dropped too. Oh, no one's hating on you, Clifton. Nah, we got love. Yeah, Devin impressed me too. We're not, bro. No, I'm not calling anybody haters. Clifton, read the comments on our videos and you'll see what I'm talking about. Clifton, I got mad respect to anybody who disagrees with me. There's one way with disagreeing. There's another way with if you want to have a good laugh, go read the comments and then read what I was writing back. I keep it respectful. That OTX. Yeah, we watched that. That's Marinas. He had him hurt early. Talked about Pierce having the knockout of the air, if I recall correctly. Pierce is always getting dropped. The fight before that against Villanueva, he got dropped. He's just in firefights. So we just have to look then, is Lorenzo Parra a big hitter? Lorenzo Parra 23-1. Like, is he that dude? Parra fought some decent comp draw with number 14 recently, but he's the B side. Don't trust judges. All right, so Lorenzo's 20. He has 17 knockouts. Venezuelan featherweight. He has a draw against Trinidad. We watched that fight. His loss was to Parejo. A lot of his fights had been in Venezuela. They've recently brought him over on the overtime cards. This might be our dog. Parra got good power and he's a slugger. This might be our dog, Julius. I remember watching Parra now. And I remember every time I watch Elijah, if you bet on him, you're stressed out the entire time. Somebody should have told me, Johnny, you're too close to the screen. The whole stream, I'm like this. Thanks for having my back. Parra fought some different. All right, I'm going to do a deep dive. Because when you're giving us odds at, dude, you guys are plus 380. Plus 380. All right. I ain't mad at it. Guys, I'm going to be doing my I'm going to upload Cameron Vong versus Gwyn. That's the first one. Then we're doing Ben Whittaker versus Ben Gavazi. Am I pronouncing that right? These are the Stats Don't Lie videos. So Vong versus Gwyn first. Whittaker versus Gavazi second. No one's talked about Justin Paldo. Paldo's on that Pro Box card. There was Paldo's fighting Nike Theron. What a first name. Nike Theron. Pierce getting dropped again. The fight ain't going the distance. All right. But Julius, you're talking to me like Chilltown talks to me. I'll be like, hey, Chilltown, do you see Parra beating Pierce? He'll do some stuff like Julius. Pierce getting dropped again. The fight ain't going the distance. I'm like, all right, but who do you see winning? So you'll be playing the prop. Guys, I'm gonna lock it down. I'm gonna be going live again today. So I got clients at 1. I'm gonna be going live at 2. So in about 6 hours from now, I'll go live again. The NFL game, because I'll be tapping into that. Got a little sneaky action on the NFL. Should be in the second half. The Cameron Vong versus Gwyn Stats Don't Lie video will be uploaded by then. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe. Like this video on your way out. Pinned in the comments section. Join our Discord. We just amassed 300 Johnny Says Boxing VIPs. Thank you guys. This is a boxing community in the Discord and on the channel. It's not an echo chamber. We thrive off of our discourse. We don't have to agree. And